So let's practice drawing some Bohr models. First, let's remember that each energy shell can only hold a certain number of electrons. And so the first energy level can hold 2, and then 8, 18, and then 32. We'll never really get to filling up that fourth energy level, not with Bohr models, but it's good to know. So let's try some examples. We're going to start with oxygen. If we look at the periodic table, we can see that oxygen has an atomic number of 8 and a mass number that rounds to 16. Now let's talk about that mass. We know that that is not the same thing as a mass number for an isotope. Every isotope, its mass number is its protons plus its neutrons. But the periodic table just tells us, on average, if you took every single isotope of oxygen in the world and got their average mass, it would be pretty close to 16. So for our Bohr models, we're looking to draw the average atom of oxygen. So this tells us, because it has an atomic number of 8, it has 8 protons. And because the atom is electrically neutral, it has to have the same number of positives as negatives, so it also has 8 electrons. Remember that this mass is protons plus neutrons. So if the mass is 16 and we have 8 protons, 16 minus 8 tells us that we also have 8 neutrons. So we can draw our Bohr model by starting with the nucleus, which has 8 protons and 8 neutrons. It's not always the same, but in this case it is. And then we're going to draw our first energy level. Oxygen has 8 electrons, and our first energy level can hold 2. So we're going to say 1, 2. The position of them really doesn't matter. Some people like to pair them, some people like to spread them out. Do whatever you like. So the second energy level can hold up to 8. Well, we have 8 electrons to start with, and we put 2, so we only have 6 more, and they're all going to go on this energy level. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And that's our Bohr model for oxygen. Let's look at phosphorus. If you look at phosphorus in the periodic table, it has the atomic number 15. That means it has 15 protons, 15 electrons, and its mass rounds to about 31 on average. So 31 minus 15 tells us that we have 16 neutrons. So we'll start with our nucleus, and it has 15 protons and 16 neutrons. And now we need to show where these 15 electrons are. So our first energy level can hold 2. So 1, 2. Our second energy level can hold 8. We've only put 2. That means we have 13 more. It means we're going to fill up this second energy level. So we have 1, 2. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 8 plus these 2 shows us where 10 electrons are. That means we have 5 more to go in the third energy level. And it can hold 18, so we're going to put all 5 of these in the third energy level. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And again, it doesn't really matter where you put them. You could put all 5 right here. It's just more, it looks prettier to me to spread them out like that. It's your decision. Let's do one more example. Let's do calcium. And if we look at calcium on the periodic table, it has an atomic number of 20. So it has 20 protons and 20 electrons. Its mass on average is 40. So that means on average, an atom of calcium has also 20 neutrons. So we'll start with our nucleus with our 20 protons and our 20 neutrons. The first energy level has 2. And the second can hold 8. We know that only adds up to 10, so we're going to fill that up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we have 10 more electrons. And since the third level can hold up to 18, we'll put all 10 here. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And that's your Bohr model for calcium. Let's talk about these Bohr models as a way to explain our noble gases really quickly. Helium has atomic number of 2, so it has 2 protons, 2 electrons, and it has a mass number of 4, so that means it also has 2 neutrons. So we can draw helium pretty quickly. 2 protons, 2 neutrons, and 2 electrons. So even though helium only has a valence number of 2, it only has 2 valence electrons, it still has a full outer shell. Because remember, that first outer shell can only hold 2. If we look at neon, and neon has an atomic number of 10, so it has 10 protons and 10 electrons. And with a mass of 20, it also has 10 neutrons. So we can show our nucleus here. With 10 protons and 10 neutrons. Our first energy level has 2. Our second energy level can hold 8. And that will get us to our total 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And that's our 10 total electrons. So you can see, even though neon has 8 valence electrons, 8 electrons in that outer shell, and helium has 2, they're still both noble gases because their outermost shell is full.